Okay, today we're going to learn how to solve one-step equations using multiplication and division. We've already seen how to use it doing addition and subtraction. Now we're going to look at the other side of things. Okay, vocabulary you need to know. You got your multiplicative inverses, which are two numbers whose product is 1, and reciprocals are two numbers whose product is 1. So these are the same thing, multiplicative inverses and reciprocals. This means that if you have two numbers and you multiply them together, it'll equal 1. So to find the multiplicative inverse of a number or the reciprocal, what you're going to do is you're going to flip it. Okay, you have the multiplication property of equality, meaning if you multiply each side of an equation by the same number, it produces an equivalent equation. So if you have A equals B, if you multiply A times C and B times C, they're still going to be equal. Same thing with the division property of equality. Dividing each side of an equation by the same number produces an equivalent equation. So if A equals B, then if you divide A by C and B by C, they're still going to be equal. But remember with division, your C here cannot be 0. If you divide A divided by 0, it's going to be undefined. Okay, when doing these equations, remember that multiplication and division are going to be inverse operations. They're going to cancel each other out, which is what we tried to do. So when solving equations, remember the goal is to get the variable by itself. So for example, we're going to find x. So in the simple terms, you're going to first look at what side the variable is on. What is in the way of that variable being by itself? How do you get rid of it? And remember, when you do that, what you do to one side, you must do to the other. So look at example number 1. Where is our variable and what is in our way? So if you look on the left side of the equation, you have x. Right now that 3 is in our way of it being by itself, so we got to get rid of that 3. To get rid of that 3, if you look, we're dividing here. It says x divided by 3. So if we're going to get rid of it, we have to multiply by 3. And we're going to do that to both sides, because what you do to one side, you have to do to the other to keep it equal. So you multiply by 3 there, and if you do that, you have to multiply by 3 on the other side. Opposites, inverse relationships, inverse operations cancel each other out. So that dividing by 3 and multiplying by 3, you can cancel them out, leaving you with x. X is going to be equal to, looking at the right side, a -6 times 3 is a -18. And that is your answer. Example number 2. 18 equals a -4y. We want to find y, so where is it at? To the right. What is in our way? So right now that -4 is in our way, so we got to get rid of it. If we look here, we're multiplying -4 times y. So we're going to have to do the inverse operation of multiply, which is divide, to get rid of it. So to get rid of that -4, we must divide by a -4, which is the inverse operation, and we got to do it to both sides. We want to keep it equal. So if we divide by a -4 on that side, we have to divide by a -4 on the left. Remember, the whole reason we did that is so we can get rid of it. Opposites will cancel each other out, leaving us with our y by itself. But what we do to one side, we must do to the other. So 18 divided by a -4 is a -4.5. And that is your answer. Example number 3. You have a -a is equal to a -24. Now I wanted to show you this example because if you look, you don't have a number in front of that letter. But remember, I always said if there's just a letter, you can always put a 1 in front of it. So it's really a -1a is equal to a -24. Now it looks like something you're used to working with. So where's our variable? To the left, and what is in the way? Right now that -1 is in the way, and we're multiplying by that -1. So to get rid of it, we're going to divide, the inverse operation. So to get rid of a negative 1, you must divide negative 1 on both sides. What you do to one side, dividing by negative 1, you must do to the other, divide by negative 1. Our opposites will always cancel each other out, these inverse operations, leaving us with A is equal to, and a negative 24 divided by a negative 1 is positive 24, and that is our answer. Example number 4. We have 4/5 x is equal to a negative 8. Now this is different than what you're looking for. So we have here, where is the variable and what is in the way? Well, our variable is x over to the left, and 4/5 is in the way. Well, how do you get rid of a fraction? To get rid of that fraction, we're going to bring our vocabulary words in. You must multiply by its reciprocal, or multiplicative inverse. Remember, those terms are interchangeable. So what we're going to do is we're going to flip 4/5 and we're going to multiply by 5/4. It's reciprocal. So to get rid of 4/5, you must multiply by 5/4 on both sides. So we're going to multiply by 5/4, the reciprocal on the left and also on the right. The opposites will cancel each other out, leaving us with x on the left side is equal to, and before we can multiply these fractions, remember, you can change negative 8 into a fraction by putting it over 1. So now you just multiply the top. Negative 8 times 5 is 40, and then 1 times 4, the denominators, is 4. Okay? To simplify, negative 40 divided by 4, x is equal to a negative 10. And that is your answer. Okay, like the other one-step equations we have done, I want to show you how to check the problems. Remember, to check the problems is finding out if the answer you got, is it right. So in this example, we said that y was a negative 4.5. So what we can do is we can plug our answer into the problem. So remember, we're going to bring out 18 equals negative 4. Y, we said, was a negative 4.5. So it would be a negative 4 times a negative 4.5. When we multiply those together, we get 18. So we have 18 is equal to 18. If both sides are equal, then our answer is going to be correct. So that means negative 4.5 is the correct answer. Okay, try these on your own, see what you can do.